Well. What is happening, Mrs. Storm? Welcome, everybody, all 8,592 million people watching. We appreciate you. It is Wednesday, which translates to the world's best toy podcast live. Like clockwork, every Wednesday we're live.
Yes,
And
sir.
so, with that being said, I am your sexy, gorgeous, lovely host, Chet and Alex. There's probably no one sexier on the internet, and that's okay, except I found him, and it is my lovely co-host, Alexander Storm, looking gorgeous tonight. How are you doing, my friend?
What's up, brother? And didn't we get that live opening countdown done? We said we were going to get it done, and finally, after weeks and weeks, we got a
Weeks,
pretty nice one, man.
thousands of dollars, millions of Reddits, and we don't know what happened to that, so we just came up with that one.
Yes, sir.
We have a amazing show for you. A lot of exciting things happening this weekend. We do have a little bit of toy news, maybe towards the end, but more importantly, we are going to talk about what it is to be a mini con, what that looks like, and what's taking place on Sunday. So we have a great show for you. Stick around. We'll be right back. No, that one's still just as good. I, however, am going to shut my mouth for a second here, Mr. Storm, and I'm going to let you introduce our guest because this is look. If you like conventions, if you've ever been to conventions, you are going to be just as excited as we are here at Toy Box Chronicles and the rest of the Shadow Nose Network. We do want to remind you to re-click that subscription and the notification bell because YouTube famously changes that on everybody every damn day. So, Mr. Storm, please introduce our lovely, gorgeous guest.
Absolutely, brother. And as we always start off on every Wednesday, nation and nation, coast to coast, from our toy rooms to your living room, this is Toy Box Chronicles, episode 42. And I am happy to say that the inventor, and this is the point where we want to give you, the inventor of mini cons, not, standard Comic Cons and everything else, a mini con, a new concept and how conventions will be run. We've got Nerdz from Nerdz Hip Hop. We are so happy to have him in. Everyone, let's give him a big round of applause. If we actually had an applause button, we would do it. But what's going on, sir? How you doing tonight?
What's good, y'all? What's good? I am good. Thank you guys for having me first and foremost.
No problem, brother.
Yes,
We
sir.
definitely had to have. I remember. I would say maybe a month ago and everything. We first met, and you were doing a live event, and that's when it kind of hit us that this is something we definitely have to bring to people's attention because it was unique, and it was not the same similar formula that we normally would see from what you were coming up with. And it's I would say, like, when I say the inventor of the minicon, we want to get this right because there's conventions. Everyone knows there's San Diego Comic Con, there's LA Comic Con. I think there's one in the IE that's called a Comics Revolution that's in Ontario. But your concept is completely different. So, Nerds, what is the concept of it, and explain it to our viewers.
Okay, so basically, with the mini con, it's got all your similar con features as one of the big boys, but the thing is, it's just like a little bit less space. And
Okay.
some vendors that we love to give a chance to that may not have all the credentials as your, your usual people that have grandiose settings, and we don't like limit ourselves. They can come too, but it's a lot better for people that are trying to find a way to earn a living or side money with their thing that they're doing, their gift, like, what I mean? So we onboard a lot of vendors that normally wouldn't be able to jump on board and pretty much make a good little earning from what they do. And so with mini cons, what also I wanted to do was bring something to the communities that don't really have stuff like this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, as far as your San Bernardinos, your Moreno Valleys, where I'm at, like, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? Just pretty much stuff that you wouldn't normally see, areas that aren't normally covered, you know what I mean? And then also bringing, like, you know, the music with it. You know, there's nerdcore rap, but you don't always hear nerdcore rap at every con and all that stuff like that. Unless it's like a specific con, like, you know what I mean? So what I wanted to do was also introduce more of that, more music, more elements of hip hop, not just, you know, like what we know as hip hop today, but even, you know, having DJs, b-boys, like, you know what I mean? All sorts of things, bro, like that kind of incorporate the knowledge of hip hop and the knowledge of nerd culture.
And I know at this event, you know, I would be reminiscent not to say one of my good friends is DJ Fiction, and he will be actually doing a set at your event. So let's get this out of the way. There's a personal connection here. So it's not like we just popped up out of the blue out of this situation. I know a guy that's playing there, so, and he's a pretty talented guy. Now, the one aspect that I think that you explained to me that I think sums it up in a very way is, now you said that it's MiniCon is more or less if it would be a Coachella and a Comic-Con, but indoors. And explain, where did that thought process come from?
Well, honestly, that's my end game. My end game with you know, what I'm trying to do here with mini cons is eventually get to that grandiose Comic-Con meets Coachella vibe. You know what I mean? Right now we're a vibe. I'm not going to take it away from us, and I'm not going to sit here and not pin a rose on my shoulder. Like right now, Nerdz Hip Hop is a vibe, but the goal is always to make the vibe bigger so everybody can get involved. And you already know we've had a talk on the side. I'm super anti-gatekeeping, so I want everybody to take this vibe because I feel like everybody needs it. Everybody, are we allowed to curse on this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
Some people need to learn how to calm the fuck down. So that's just what I'm saying. So this really helps with that, like that vibe of nerd and hip hop culture. Like, you know what I mean? This isn't your like amp, like, you know, fired up, harm somebody type of hip hop. This is the type, like, which, you know, sometimes, you know, I enjoy myself, but at the same time, this is more or less that family friendly hip hop, that vibe. This is a nerd and a hip hop heads Disneyland. That's where I'm going with it. Like, you know what I mean? It's so that they, you know, people can enjoy in such an immense way. Like, you know, the elements of hip hop, not just hip hop in that one element as MC and beats that people know. It's like, you know, there's elements to hip hop. Like anybody that knows about hip hop from where it came from, like, I mean, there's elements to it, and there's a lot that are missing out that would be so much fun to incorporate in something like nerd culture. For one, being like art. Because I always tell people that nerd and hip hop culture, they kind of connect at art, because you have
absolutely,
and then you have graffiti art, which is a staple in hip hop culture. So
yeah, and a lot of that graffiti art has transcended over into the you know, into toy community and also in the comic community. And there's a lot of guys that I think that take on inspiration from that and see themselves through that. And so I think that's what makes this kind of event a little bit more, number one, it's all inclusive, but I think the thing that brought out to me the most thing is family friendly, you know. That's something where I've noticed that some of the other conventions that they've kind of moved away. It's a little bit more to an older skew, and not the whole family can enjoy some of those. I know the anime convention, you got to be very careful what aisles you walk your kids down on some of those. But the family atmosphere, that's the thing. Is that, you know, we want people to know that this is an event that you can go have fun. You can bring your kids no matter what age they are, and there's something for everyone. Now I know that I'm totally into, like, you know, toys and comics and everything else like that, and so I know that there's going to be these type of vendors. So break down some of the vendors and what items that they may have or may not have that we could see at the MiniCon, which is, let's let everyone know, this Sunday, November 24th. So that's the one major thing we want you to let you know. It is this Sunday. So before Thanksgiving, you know, you have a chance to go to a nice event in Moreno Valley at the Moreno Valley Mall. We got a graphic that we'll put up on that. But let us know some of the vendors, some of the items that they have. So something like, you know, someone that hasn't been there, you can kind of walk us through what we'll see.
Got you. Real quick before that, I definitely want to touch on what you said with the family-oriented thing. There's a very big reason why I wanted to be family-oriented, because what it is right now, what we have is a great opportunity to bridge the gap between generations. Like, potentially dads or people that are dad ages or everything like that grew up on hip hop being like only about 50 years old. Like, you know what I mean? They grew up on hip hop. They grew up on gaming. They grew up on dope action figures, like, you know what I mean? And now that they have kids, their kids like some of the similar things. Now, it might be in different ways. Like, you know what I mean? You have webtoon comics and you have paperback comics, you know what I mean, that they still like. And you have immense amount of toys and figurines and everything like that that people still love. And then gaming has went to from Super Mario to goddamn, it's looking like we're watching playable movies now. Like, you know what I mean? So it's insane. Like the if we allow it, how closely knit it is that families and parents can get along with their children so much more. Because like I said, my dad's like, he's awesome, but I was the youngest. And he was from the 40s, 50s, and 60s era. He doesn't know anything about video games and none of that. So he tried to for me, but it was a big disconnect. But just wanted to say that real quick. But to segue to what you would see there, you're gonna see a awesome blend. Like you'll see figurines, you know what I mean, action figures, whether retro, new age, and all that stuff like that. You'll see a lot of indie comics, you know what I mean, from creators, from urban creators, Black creators, Latino creators, all kind of creators, like, you know what I mean, everything across the board. You know what I mean? You'll also have really dope shirt ideas from like anime to superhero shirts to superhero ponchos, like, you know what I mean? All kind of stuff like that, man. And also crossover stuff like, hip hop. Like you'll have, I know somebody has like a sweater with Scooby-Doo, like hip hopped out, all kind of like everything, awesome. All that type of stuff that you would see at a normal con, but with a little bit of flavor, some flavor in it.
So basically what you're saying is before Thanksgiving and before Black Friday, I could spend all my money the Sunday before.
Why not? Why not get that Christmas shopping done early, baby? That's what we talking about.
I'm talking about for myself, bro. Like they can wait a couple of weeks. We got some questions from Crooked Smiles Collectibles. How often do they do shows and where can I get vendor information?
Nice. Okay, so right now we were doing shows monthly. We're gonna take a break in December, and then we're gonna be hitting January pretty hard. About the vendor information, you can either go on Nerdz and Hip Hop and Instagram and go ahead and inbox me, so I get a familiarity of who you are and what you sell, because I'm gonna ask you some of those questions. Or you can go to nerdsminicon.com and pretty much where it says contact us, you can go ahead and utilize that contact information and holler at us. And then the best thing to do though is the Nerdz in Hip Hop page on Instagram, because then I could follow you and then you can get updates way quicker on, what's going on.
Yeah, we have both the links in the comments or in the description right now. So.
Okay, great. Yeah, but Nerdz with a Z, because I know a lot of people spell it with an S. We're doing it with C, so make sure to get over to the right ones. And actually, I'll say we follow your Instagram. It's not the typical Instagram where it's like, there's somebody pushing products or something. It's pushing the community of people. I've seen from people's rides to I've seen people's sets to all your vending shows and everything. It's all blended there. It's not like it's something where it's like I'm constantly being berated. It's a community. And if you haven't seen it, then I suggest you go over to Instagram and definitely follow it, because you will get, and some of the updates are great. I saw one with your anniversary one that was actually pretty good too. I was like, wow, man. Guy said family friendly. These guys promoting it out there. So.
Yo, I definitely wanted to give that vibe. Like, I mean, me and my wife worked very, very hard to, bring a lot of these things together. Like, you know what I mean? That's my rock right there. I could not have done this. I came this far without her, honestly. But the thing is also too is that, I wanted it to be more community, because the page itself started as a shout out page. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was just showing love to people I'll pass by while I'm just cruising or scaling or whatever you got, scrolling, and I would see people doing something dope. I'm like, yo, do you mind if I repost that? No, go ahead. Sure. Boom. So it's like after a while, after 5 years of doing that, like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like it became a community. And it became a good way for me to help get people recognized and, kind of help bring in a culture of celebrating people. I tell people this all the time. I don't celebrate any holidays on there purposely. I used to, but I was like, dude, I feel like I'm doing that just to, kind of fit in the norm. And like I said, I'm not mad at any holidays. I don't hate holidays, so I don't want that to somebody to like freaking take this later on, make a little extra. He hates holidays. Like, nah, I don't hate holidays, but I feel like we don't celebrate other people enough. We celebrate holidays to the end of us. Like, yeah, let's celebrate this. Let's celebrate that. Let's drink till we're done, and don't but we don't celebrate people enough. And I feel like that's the type of culture and that's the type of legacy I want to leave, or the not even legacy, the impression that I want to leave on people when I leave this world is celebrate people. Celebrate them all the time. You see something that you like that they do, celebrate. I don't even care if you don't feel them or like them. Who cares? Like, celebrate them.
Yeah.
Because you want to be celebrated. All of us want to be celebrated. Let's be real.
It makes sense. So now at this event again, we're going to say there's obviously toy vendors. There's going to be merchandise when it comes to sweaters or t-shirts or I'm sure hats as well. But then also I noticed a couple of things too. Was there's cosplay, and there's actually a graffiti art contest. Those were the interesting ones. So like you guys did the catch-all. Like no one feels like they're excluded from this. And especially cosplay. So like, all right, when we say that all these events are happening in cosplay, I'm sure there are contests and everything. So explain a little bit about the contest, if there's any prizes, any situations, so we can get some of these people that like to dress up, because we know we got a Star Wars show that comes on after us. There's a lot of stormtroopers that need a place to go over the weekend.
Yo, they definitely. There's with the cosplay contest, it's going to be a thing to where, of course, the people that are coming in cosplay all have an opportunity to join in the contest. We close the ballot or whatever at 1, and then 2 p.m. will be the actual cosplay contest. At that point, people can win an award from like runner-up, and it's probably like a prize or something, some sort of figure or stuff like that. And then, first prize, of course, is going to get one of the Nerdz and Hip Hop chains. And now, see, that's a little different thing that we do. Instead of like a regular standard trophy, we first started doing that, like little trophies or whatever like that. So I was like, I got to make it a little bit more hip hop. So now it's like a chain that has the Nerdz and Hip Hop logo.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So that's going to be one of the things that we have. Now, the thing is as dope as a regular cosplay contest is, at the end, we plan on doing like a little bit of a dance performance and everything like that. That's kind of organized by the people that are running it with me, which is Peter Parkour. Shout out to him. Also with the graffiti contest. Now, this is the thing that makes it a little different. The graffiti contest is a graffiti art crossover anime comics contest. So basically it's graffiti art and you're incorporating a character or something that's known from either a comic or an anime, even a gaming, character. Let's say if you wanted to do Mario, you just had a thing for Mario or Sonic, you wanted to add that in there. Cool. No problem. It just has to be nerdy and graffiti, same, just in the same thing. So it's just like we got a couple of guys that are judging that, and the winners will of course get the neck chain, and then we also have some consolation prizes, which is like these really tricked out graffiti art cans, spray cans or whatever, but it's like really tricked out, brought to us by Foxtrot Illustrations. So yeah, gonna have Untapped Hip Hop. They'll be there with Foxtrot Illustrations, kind of helping curate and judge the whole thing. And then Get Lit Books will also be a part of that process. So
now,
that's awesome.
Actually, we got a question and popping in from the point. Hey, from San Francisco State. Best of luck to your cons. All right, that's what we like to see.
Thank you.
And of course, we got our boy Meeks. That's dope. You got to do a piece of God of War and Master Chief.
Ooh, I like that. That's you put Kratos in there. You brought. Yeah. I'm gonna have to jump in and put my vote at that point.
Wow. Meeks is doing Meeks. So you already revealed what you're doing, Meeks. Okay, it worked itself out. Now with the cosplay contest, is it an age restriction, or what are we looking age wise?
No, there is no age restriction.
Okay.
But the only restriction is if a minor wants to sign up, they would have to get a parent's signature.
Okay.
Just to kind of we don't want to, because if they win, we got to take all sorts of pictures and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I don't want anybody that's a minor or their parents being like, we didn't want them to have a picture taken, or it becomes a situation. It might not happen like that, but at the same time, like we're a fresh newcomer starting out, and I don't want no trouble.
Well,
No.
I do love to see the little guys in their costumes and everything. It's not just Halloween. Whenever I go to a major convention and everything, it's something about that. Their little hearts is put into it, and I've seen a couple of them, some great Transformers over the years and some other stuff. So I definitely like to see the little guys get involved in that because they are the ones with the imagination. We want to get them involved. So that means that Meeks, bring the wife and kids. They can put them in some costumes, everything, get them on that stage and everything for some cosplay. As we're looking at all the other events, now you said that you're going to take a break in the month of December, but January you're starting back up.
Yes.
Okay. So now, again, so if you want to sign up as to be a vendor, now would be the time. But also one of the main things that you and I were talking about in a separate conversation is volunteers is also something that you've definitely been looking for, right?
Yeah, volunteers is a thing that, like when you're fresh, new and out, people kind of they're skeptical of what you bring in, the legitimacy of what you got. And it becomes sort of a thing to where it's kind of like you ask for it, talk to the city about it and all that stuff like that. And, it's kind of like more of a, I don't know, we'll see, to where I know that after this time, it'll be a lot easier. I actually had somebody contact us recently trying to help out a little bit. And that's very helpful. Like I said, it's not the biggest area in the world. And we're not going to be asking people to do insane things like, carry the set table on your back and all, or something crazy. Like, no. But it's simple tasks that are hard for myself and a couple of others to get to, because we're gonna have to deal with the more major task of making sure everything runs smoothly.
Obviously. All right. Well, like I said, that's a shout out to our community. If you guys have nothing to do on Sunday, which we pretty much know that you don't have anything to do on Sunday, head over and make sure you go to the Nerds in Hip Hop. And actually DM him and let him know, like, hey man, I'm willing to give my time up. Is there something help? Because let's get some volunteers, because we want to see events like this continue to happen. And just like Comic-Con or LA Comic-Con, they run on volunteers. These kind of events need volunteers as well. So let's get the word out there. If you know anybody that's nothing to do on a Sunday, well, they got something to do this Sunday now. One of the things is that when I look at these conventions and I see how they're running and everything, they seem to be running with the same kind of style, same kind of situation. Your mini con looks to disrupt that. Was that something that you saw from the beginning, that it's that you saw a hole in where cons were going, and you thought to yourself that this is something I can fill and this is how I'm going to fill it?
Yeah, no, definitely. It's seeing, okay, so my thing is, this goes back to even when I was doing telemarketing. Yes, I told them I did telemarketing at one point when I was 20. They give you this script and they tell you to say this verbatim, and it's like, dude, no one wants to hear all this. And by the time I get midway through, I'm catching dial tone. So my goal was always to kind of, I would say, freak it, saying, to the more important parts, amplify the parts that I know are more interesting, amplify. And I take that across the board with whatever I do. I love to amplify, take something and amplify it, not steal from it and tarnish the legacy of it or whatever people would say. Not that per se, but just kind of amplify it. I realized that some cons, they needed more music. They needed just some music, as you're passing through aisles, something that kind of hey, gotta give you the motion, and not just in certain areas, but you should hear it all through there, and I noticed that, it's like when you come to a con, it's just like like older guys that are just doing their thing and all that stuff like that. But I know a lot of younger dudes that are trying to get in there, like, you know what I mean? Fresh faces, people that are right, like you're really trying to take the craft seriously and really want to you know, take it to the next level and give these people a shot, man. Like, in a sense, give them a shot. And like, you know, it's like sometimes they might not have all the right credentials or they don't have the best table set up, but you know, give them a coaching hand. Like, you know what I mean? I might walk past people and be like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, you might want to, you know, spread that out a little bit, like, well, all your content and all that, or all your merch or something like that. Like, just, you know, let's get to helping to raise up some of the dope vendors that we want to see that could last for a lifetime, like, you know what I mean? So they can do that for the next generation after them.
Well, that's actually pretty good because I know I've vended at San Diego Comic-Con uh, years and years, and that does not happen at San Diego Comic-Con. It's like, okay, you're here, and that's pretty much how they leave it. And if there's somebody that's giving you a little bit of insight and actually helping your performance and giving their wealth of knowledge, because not only do you run, you know, the mini cons and everything else like that, but you also have a comic book company that you kind of like, you know, perform in and do independently wise, right? So, you know, as that too, the art aspect, I'm sure it's very popular with what you want to do, right?
Oh yeah. That's pretty much where it spawned for from myself. Like, you know what I mean? A lot of it has to do with my you know, challenges and stuff when I first started trying to sell my comic and everything like that and trying to get it out there. Like, you know, trying to budget going to somewhere like San Diego Comic-Con, where it's like, you know, I have to buy a plane ticket or buy X amount of product to even make it make sense, and then go ahead and pay that big table fee. And at that point, it's like, bro, I better like, you know what I'm saying, make this money or I'm dead in the water. Like, this is my next comic will come out in like 2034, like something like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm in debt, like, you know, so that was one of the things I aimed to change, like with a price point that's, you know, that cost you a little something, but it's really affordable. You can still pay for your booth and still like I mean, even if you had a bad day, you're just like, well, I only paid about this much for it, so it wasn't that terrible. Like, you know what I mean? So and have something like that locally, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
No, that it makes all the sense in the world. I think, especially to up and coming vendors that want to attend these events, because I do know that's the deterrent. Is if you pop up someplace and you feel like, well, I've got to make this amount of money, and you don't, then that discourages you from wanting to do the event again. But in this case, if you're, you know, doing something where, especially one, if you're getting, you know, advice by people coming by, like, hey man, we want to see you succeed. But two is also the price is not like, you know, really killing them, and they can look at this from a point where I grew and I can constantly keep growing with this event. Because like things like, you know, I've been going to San Diego for almost 20 plus years. So like I grew up going to that event. And the aspect of it is that I've seen that event grow from early on, from an event that was very open to, like, you know, comic creators and, you know, toy vendors and all the other people coming up, to now where it's just like, if you're big, you're fine. If you're little, they don't really act like they care. Your event, the mini con, is in the stages where you can literally grow with this event. So one day when it is the Coachella of cons indoors, you know, you'll have the experience of starting off from the early days of the grind to seeing it blossom into something. And I think that there's no substitute for that experience when it's dealing with you. And I'm sure also you probably have some dedicated vendors that's been rocking with you since day one. Who are those?
I have quite a few, man. I got my man Time Bomb. It's like, that's his comic. He does an original comic. The man, I got my dude Foxtrot Illustrations. You know what I mean? He's been with me until almost everyone. You know what I mean? It's Faro. And you know, certain people like that just been there, like Haiku Pop, who basically is, you know, we're kind of running this event together a bit, because, you know, he kind of helped they have a shop in the mall, and, you know what I mean, that was kind of the connecting piece. And, you know, they were doing our show a lot, and then, you know, once they got their store, they kind of helped us get on, you know. So it's it's a family. It's more of a community type of thing. And I like to say all the time too, like the nerds that roll around me, they don't look like average nerds. Like, you know what I mean? Like you see me like a guy with a cap on, a hoodie, I don't look like the average nerd, I guess, what people would think, like, you know what I mean? But nowadays it's a lot different. Like you might see a dude that's tatted up from face to toe. And it's just like, you're thinking, oh man, he's going to rob me. No, he's going to talk to you about anime. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just like, it's a different day. It's a new world. And I feel like Nerds and Hip Hop and the people that subscribe and like Nerds and Hip Hop showcase that, your nerds don't look the same anymore. Get over it.
Absolutely. I know, Chet, you had some questions that you wanted to hit him up with.
When you, so like, I think so you were kind of talking about just like, affordability of the con and being able to give someplace for people to grow. So I've done cons before for my board game. We were at LA Comic-Con, and the thing that was crazy was, I was going to LA Comic-Con when it was Kamikaze, and then Stan Lee's Comic-Con, and then Comic-Con LA. And throughout that period of time, there was this shift of like kind of like forgetting where they came from. So how do you see yourself and the people that you work with? How do you because any kind of growth really has the opportunity to trigger a different change in mindset. And so how do you find yourself keeping yourself like humble and like going for the cause and for your ultimate vision of something that everyone can enjoy?
That's a good question. I'm gonna get big headed, baby. Forget it. Y'all owe me nothing. No, I'm just kidding. No, honestly, how I stay grounded, man, is like, I know a lot of people, it's cliche, but I'm really into God, man. Like I'm really into God and the humility of things. And I've been through a lot of things in my life, you know what I mean, that brought me to this point. And remaining humble is part of my why. And I always come back to my why. And what I would say with that is that, even getting here, there was a lot of people I could tell didn't really like what I was doing, or didn't really like, feel favorable of me or maybe my character or whatever they think. But, they had the opportunity to open the door for me, but did not. Like, you know what I mean? So when I get to that point, if I don't open that door for other people, even though, like, I felt a certain way and all that, then I'm doing and perpetuating the same thing, the same cycle, the same gatekeeping cycle, the same, oh, I had it hard, so you're going to have it hard cycle. Like, and not to say that I would make anything 100% easy, because that doesn't help people grow either. But what I want to do is, if given the opportunity to show people how to do better, I want to show people how to do better. I never wanted to be a leader growing up. Like I always wanted to play the background, but this has put me in an opportunity to be a leader. And if I'm going to be a leader, I want to be a good one. Like, I want to be the best I can be at that. And getting a big head does not help you be a good leader. It actually makes you become the worst type of leader.
Yeah. For this, there's a question we have from Moocher. I might have missed it, but is this con in the same place or does it travel?
That's a beautiful question. I love that, because the fact is that it will be in the same place from month to month for now, which is in the Moreno Valley Mall. But I do have plans to travel out, and I want to do different area malls. Like, they're kind of far from this one, because it wouldn't make sense for me to, we're in Moreno Valley. Riverside's our sister city. To do it in Moreno Valley one month and then do it in Riverside, we're literally talking and advertising to the same people. So at that point, I would love to go to LA County, different places in California, then travel outside of California. Make this thing like Universal Circus. Like, we pop up somewhere and we just bring the noise. But it's going to take some time to get to that portion of it, because we got to make sure that this one here is a well-oiled machine, and that I get all the people in place to help me make those things possible. Because when you get to a position like this, you start to understand how much you need other people to help make this thing be, or make the dream that you have in your head really, really come to fruition.
No, that makes sense. And yeah, Darth Moocher was saying, awesome because the high desert needs some love. So,
Got you, Doc.
Yes, it does.
yes, it does. It does. And it's getting to the
That's
point
for
where
other
it's
that's for other reasons outside of conventions, though. That's not
exactly.
that's yeah.
Yeah, but no, I like that aspect as well because again, there's so many people that are limited to the events that they can go to, and I know that this year we skipped LA Comic Con only
Mhm.
because it just I think some of the pricing and everything just getting into downtown LA just got stupid, and I was
Yeah.
like, do I want to make that ride? And then before I even walk in the con, blow $40, like it
Yeah.
didn't make any sense, and
Which
I
is
think
which is an understatement if you think about it, because if
yeah,
this goes off and it was held in like let's just say Beverly Center, right, which would be a good spot. I mean, that's kind of like a hip hop mecca in that area. But you would already have parking taken care of because you would have the parking
yes,
structure. So
hmm
you wouldn't have to park under the tunnel and walk 2 miles and
yeah,
pay $90,000 for your towing ticket, you know?
and that's
It's free. Like it's like, you know,
yes,
you can't charge people to walk in the mall. You just can't do
no,
it. I tried.
Yeah.
no,
No, I'm just kidding. No, I definitely wanted it to be free anyway, because growing up, like, I grew up like, Los Angeles and everything like that coming up. And my parents were really like, trying to make sure we stayed safe, didn't do too much. And but bless my parents' heart, they didn't make a whole lot, like, so we didn't get to do a whole lot of things. We did as best as they could, but there were certain things we didn't get to do. But there was so I never went to a Comic-Con as a kid, never, not
okay,
once, like, but I didn't even honestly know fully what they were and how to get there, none of that. So but in my neighborhood they had every once in a while the card show, and the card
hmm
show had all the comics. You would like comic vendors, like comic card vendors, that was a thing back in the the
yep,
90s, comic cards. Those toys that you just would never find at Toys R Us, like they're
yeah,
just always bought. Somebody came in and collected all of them, probably the
Yeah.
very people that are selling them in the comic store. But
Yeah.
it was like, so it was just always like a mouth dropper for like a little nerd like myself. And it was just like, those were free, and those were some of the best memories that I had in my life, like, what I'm saying. And they didn't cost me anything to get in, and just thumb through some comics. Here I am, like 7 or 8 years old, and they just let me thumb through the comics and all that stuff like that. Those type of moments shape nerds, like, what I'm saying, to love these type of
sure.
things. And so I love being a part of that too, like, in the sense of, on Sunday, some kid's gonna come in there and know that this is possible, like,
Yes,
and know that
Yep.
they didn't
That's
have to
awesome.
travel and pay $300 to some door person or whatever to get
yeah,
inside of of some sort of con, like, and there's other ones that are cheap, I know that, but at the same
yeah,
time, to come down the street, walk down the street, ride your bike down the street, and get to come to something like this
Well,
for
what
free.
what I think is fantastic about it is it's kind of like Darth Moocher said. Also, it's perfect to bring it to the mall as 80s kids. That's where we grew up. LOL, keep them alive. And I agree with that. And more importantly, if you think about like for me specifically growing up in the late 80s, early 90s, going to a mall is where I started to get introduced to a lot of like my like pop culture references in terms of like, I was there for the launch of Nintendo, and then you can see in the background one of my favorite games of all time was Street Fighter. And I was like, I need that actual arcade in my house. And so I think what's great about this is that being in a mall, first off, for anybody that's not paying attention to this, putting on a free convention doesn't necessarily mean it's free. Okay, so there's a lot of work, there's a lot of back end work on that is required to keep it free. So we want to remind you again, if you do want to volunteer, you can hit Nerds up on his on the Instagram. It's in the description below. Please hit him up and just let him know that you're looking to however you can support, whether it's this one or ones in January, whatever it is. But I think what's important here, which is great, is just that where if it is in a mall, it does bring in people that may not have the ability to experience this kind of culture, whether it's the hip hop culture. And a lot of people mistake hip hop culture for like what's playing on the radio, when the reality is a lot of the real good hip hop doesn't get played on the radio. And if it does, you don't hear it. And it's the same thing with like the nerd culture. or the comics and anime inside of everything too is, those are in a sense, while they may be cheaper, they are a little bit gate kept in terms of just like the cost to get in. And so I think that's important. And so, I think that this has potential to have a massive impact on the surrounding communities, which is fantastic. And really, I think what we all know, especially all of us growing up as like young kids, if we just had something to like distract us to keep our shit on straight, to focus our energy into, there's some decisions that all of us may not have made. But I think, I think this is great, man. I'm excited about it.
No, I appreciate that. And like, even to touch on what you just said at the end there, we're in this area over here. I was blessed to come out to Moreno Valley, the Inland Empire, my final years of high school. And, I met a lot of interesting cats. And, they used to have this rec center that was like almost like the Rucker, because it's like you drive by, it's this big fenced in court. Yeah. And that's where I met a lot of people at when I first moved out here and knew no one. Kid just from LA that didn't know anything about, Inland Empire culture or Moreno Valley, or why there was a big mountain in the middle of the city with an M on it. I had no idea why. I was like, what is that? But at the same time, I met so many people, so many talented people, mirrored LA. But the other thing that mirrored LA was once they got rid of that rec center and other things that were fun to do for teenagers and young adults, a lot of people that I knew got in trouble, either incarcerated, shot, killed, whatever. And people like that happens in Moreno Valley, happens everywhere when you don't have a lot of things to do for the youth. And I'm not just blaming that on youth centers. Sometimes it's bad parenting. We get it. But at the same time, it can add to it the fact that there's nothing to do, in that area. So giving people something to look forward to, even supplying jobs, or even, with Nerds and Hip Hop, we pretty much tell you that you could supply your own job in the sense of grab whatever you're good at, and if it's relative to nerd culture or hip hop culture, come sell it. And feel like that can do a lot of help. I honestly, I live by a code of I can't save the world, but I can save the world around me. In the sense of, community. Some people look so far, let me help Israel, let me help this. And that's nothing wrong with that. But the thing is, the challenge is can you help from what you're good at right now, right? The people that are around you, the community that's around you with the gift that God gave you, So it's I'm gifted at this. I can utilize this to save the world around me. And then the people that I help touch can help touch others. And next thing you know, by association and by each one teach one, the world is saved. Instead of you trying to spread yourself thin and move from here to here to here to here to here to here to here, like you're Captain Planet or something, and fail miserably because you didn't even get the home base.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Makes absolute sense. And one thing too is that not only will there be vendors there, not only will you have a chance to, dress up and come as cosplay, do some graffiti art, but there will be some vehicles there as well. So, Nerds, give us a little insight on what we can see, because this is, again, here's the thing. It's just fully immersive. It is in no way, shape, or form just one thing. It seems like it's multiple things. So you have no excuse on a Sunday if you're sitting around doing nothing and you already seen your team lose. You can pop down, and it starts at 11 a.m., which is chances are your team has already lost by that point. You can go down to see them. But let us know about the car culture as well, because there is a huge amount of toy fanatics and anime and comics and just all of hip hop that's all involved in that as well.
Okay, well, definitely. So to even talk about the cars, I got to rewind just a little bit to what you said in the sense of, there's a lot of things that'll be happening that day to make sure that, okay, so with the mini con, we don't got the luxury of different rooms and different this, So it's more or less different sections of the mall. We have different things. So upstairs at Haiku Pop, they'll be hosting more of the tabletop gaming and everything like that. Back downstairs, you have vendors everywhere, even in the sense of you turn the corner, you'll have a whole gaming section. The whole gaming section will have free gameplay, Pokemon Trading Center, pictures you can take with Mario or whatever characters or whatever that you have over there. And like I said, then on the stage we'll have the graffiti art, the cosplay contest, all that. And then now also we'll have cars, like, you know what I mean? So this, which is anime wrapped cars, people that have superhero or anime build outs. We'll have a She-Hulk car that's built out with just She-Hulk everything. And I know some people didn't like the show, but you will definitely like that car. I promise you. Like, I'm not even a big car head, and I'm just like, yo, can I borrow that? So yeah, it's gonna be amazing. Like, definitely a visual spectacle that you have never seen before in your mall, unless you know. Well, I got to give shout out to Anime Night Mart, because they're in like the West Covina area, not West Covina, I'm sorry, like the Orange County area, and they have something that they do that's big like this or whatever like that, and I definitely shout out to them. But like I said, my whole goal is to be a little bit different, and not purposely because I'm like, I don't want to be like you, but just because we are, like, you know what I mean? It's just I understand that.
It makes sense. And Crooked Smile says, "Hey, I'm a Cowboys fan, and that made me feel targeted." Well, your team's going to lose early, brother, so that's okay. You've got time now. Once your team loses, then you could actually go down. It's like it's pretty much he knows by halftime this is going to be over with, so he can just go down to the mall, which he's not far from because I know where he stays, and he can actually see this immersive event. And I think the thing I like about it too is gaming. So, like, we got the tabletop. We're going to have some Pokemon, all the rest of the kind of thing that gets a lot of the community involved as well, because I know a lot more people that are gaming now when it comes to card games and everything than I've seen ever before. So that's actually good to have that as well. And so it's cool that you're, like I said, again, it's like a mall takeover, but I do believe, like Darth Moocher said earlier, they need this kind of revitalization. And malls was always like a safe space. You went there, your parents dropped you off, or you went down on your bike or walked there, and you went and had a good time, and everybody left and came home. Well, that's exactly what this mini-con event's going to give you, is something to do on a Sunday that's constructive. And hey, you may meet some friends down there, people that have your same kind of interest. And it's kind of hard to have that happen at some of these bigger conventions, because of the fact is that there's so many professionals and so many other situations. This is going to be, if you want to know something from an indie artist, there's going to be an indie artist there. If, you want to know what it's like to vend at the con, well, Nerd's going to be there. He's going to tell you what it is to vend at this kind of convention. You're going to get a little bit of a lesson. So it is this, again, like we use the term a catch-all, because that's not what we're seeing from these events. Normally, if you're going to, like I said, the Anime Expo that's in downtown, it's just anime, and they really kind of keep it towards that. But this is the kind of thing where you can branch out and have a bunch of people show up of all different types and colors and situations that come into this event to have a good time and enjoy themselves. I think that's when we do things at the best, is when we have the opportunity to share our passions with one another.
Oh, definitely.
Speaking of passions, this has inspired me for a new question I think I'm going to be asking every one of our guests that comes on. KB Toy Store or Toys R Us? What was better?
Toys R Us for me. Toys R Us straight up. I love the owls that they had. I even love, like, remember when they had the Genesis games and they were just laid out, like, KB's was kind of like, if you're in the mall with your parents, you could kind of like, or just in the mall by yourself, whatever, you can kind of slide in there and see some of the dope new toys. But Toys R Us was always an experience, bro. Like, it was always, you can ride the bikes, sit there and all kind of stuff, just getting the mayhem.
Dr. Brindley agrees with you. Toys R Us.
Well, no one asked Dr. Brindley, so
I know, but he
doesn't need to chime in.
All right, so now we're getting to the portion, because After Us is the greatest damn Star Wars show on YouTube, so that's coming up pretty soon after us. But here's the thing, before you remember that, we want all those people on the Star Wars show to know that there's something to do this Sunday. So we're going to hit a little graphic, so we make sure there's no excuse for you not to know where this event is. And right here, here's the flyer right here. You can go on to Instagram at Nerdz and Hip Hop, Nerdz with a Z. You can actually check that. You can actually follow him, so you'll get these updates. But we've
Link
done
in
a
our
little kind of thing.
description.
Yeah. Or in the description, absolutely, Chet. We've got where the Moreno Valley Mall is. You can see the freeways and everything else. So, like I said, there
Just
is
look
no
for
excuse.
In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah. If
Hey,
you don't
listening.
know where, if you don't know where Moreno Valley is, well, guess what? It's in San Bernardino. It's a little bit of Riverside. If you're down here near Paris or near Menifee, there's no excuse. The high desert, you know where that's at, Dark
Yeah,
Nature.
this shit's got everything, man. I can go to this convention while also going to In-N-Out. But before I get there, I can get coffee, and then when I leave, I can finish all my shopping at Costco because I have a death wish.
Exactly. Like I
This
said,
is
so, but,
this is well, sir. This is well played.
yeah.
Yo, let me even say, even if somebody wanted to, inside the Moreno Valley Mall, we're located from the round one entrance. So I've been telling a lot of people, I'm like, yo, if you haven't had enough fun there, you can always go up to round one for the after party, which is like, I mean, and bowl and play games and eat pizza, whatever, drink if you want to, like, you know,
spend all your money.
Those Toy Box Chronicles boys that like I said, because I can see there's a whole mess of trouble for that's going to bring up. But anyways, look, it's in between the 215 and the 60. Again, like Chet said, there's all kind of stuff in the area. But here's the thing: if you go to this event, you've got anime, superhero cars, graffiti contests, rap performances. My boy DJ Fixer is going to be spinning some tunes. Console gaming cosplay contest, free giveaways, trivia, vendors galore. Like there's look, and it's free, family friendly, indoors, and it's free. Come on, what's your excuse?
And
it is.
There's a food court right up there too. You can just go to the food court, get you something to eat, come back down.
There you go. Back in the days, I don't know. I'm a little old, might be showing my age, but there used to be a place called Hot Dog and a Stick. It might still be there.
Oh, Hot Dog on a Stick.
They got hot dog on the stick.
There you go. You got no reason to even leave the event now. And there's some adult beverages upstairs as well. Everyone know. But they got everything covered. Now, this is what we're going to do. And they're, now here's, there's always somebody said, too bad Hooters is closed. Jesus. It said family friendly, brother.
Twin Peaks is open, so don't worry about that. You're fine.
Exactly. But
family friendly last time I went, trust me, there's nothing there. It doesn't have the same standard as it once did.
No. Well, what we're gonna end up doing is this is what we're gonna do because we like to champion events and situations. So what I let our viewers know that every month that this event will come on, Nerdz will be popping back up to give them a special point, whether it's a video presentation or whether it's something to let everyone know. We're also going to be putting out the feelers for more vendors and for more volunteers to show up. So that's going to be something that we're going to push on this channel because we definitely want to see this event blow up to the Comic-Con Coachella. And so one day when we get there and it's big time and everybody else is there and everybody in the world wants to attend this event, but chances are you won't be able to because it'll be a different kind of event at that point. But we're definitely going to be championing that. We will let you know on a monthly basis when this event is coming back up because this is something we definitely believe in. We want to get more people out, more vendors, more volunteers. And again, it's in the description. You have no excuse not to know. We've given you map directions right there. Do I need to actually grab your map quest or whatever? Your Google Maps will put it in for you. Because we'll do that if we have to. We'll stop by everybody's house and make sure to get
send us your address and we'll send you some Thomas guides.
Exactly. We'll do old school way. F5 to G4 to find it. One of the things,
I want somebody to come in a game bus and grab people. That'd be so awesome.
That'd be awesome.
There you go.
Next time we'll do that. Yeah.
Now, one of the key things that we want everyone to know is it starts at 11 a.m. Correct, sir?
Yes. Starts at 11 a.m.
And you go all the way to 8 p.m.
All the way. Well, basically, the mall closes at 7 p.m. The reason why we say 8 is because the vendors will start to pack up at 7, and the gist of it is that people come through even at a farmer's market, like the last second buyers might want to grab something while they're going out the door. I just want them to know that they're free to do that. But 8 o'clock, it's 100% a wrap. Nobody's selling nothing. We're all moving out the door. So.
All right. Well, like I said, man, we thank you for popping in, and then, like I said, you will see our smiling faces. Hey, we may even live stream a moment if there's no, YouTube non-copyrighted music playing. We'll be to live stream it at that point. But we'll pop in and we'll see you. And like I said again, what we're gonna do is we'll put you in a waiting room, and from there we're gonna run down a couple of key things, certain things that you probably nerds and hip hop you can just listen to. So thanks for coming on, nerds, and hang tight. We'll be back in a second, and we're just gonna run up and close out things. All right, man. Hey, now see, that's what a Sunday fun event's supposed to be, man. You're supposed to have something to do on Sunday that sounds really cool, and I think this mini con scenario is gonna be a regular fixture, and people definitely need to see that.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be good. I'm super excited for it. It's going to be it's going to be it's going to get bigger for sure.
Yeah,
And I think people are going to hear about it word of mouth, and then have an experience and want that in their city, which is fantastic. So
absolutely.
I'm excited for it. Happy to be a part of it, even though it's small. But it's great. Nerds is great. Is a great guy. The company's great. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, as our time thins and everything, and it always does. Well, it's not just us. If you guys actually saw the countdown, you notice that we knocked out some of our sponsors, but we're still going to mention them though. Entertainment Earth. If you check in the description, there is a link that you can go over to, and if you're spending any kind of cash on any kind of toys, if you spend over $59, you get free shipping. You're going to spend probably 60 or 70 on even a couple of figures nowadays. And then from there, Gemini Comics suppliers. If you're looking in for comics and you need supplies for them, that's one of the places that got a 10% off discount for you. And then also KS Collectibles.com. That's our buddy Richard's shop. Head over there and check that out and everything. I don't know if there's any codes or anything at the moment, but he's got a lot of great stuff over there. He's got some new things that's becoming that we're going to talk about real soon as well. And from that, after us, if you know anything, this is Livestream Wednesdays. You most definitely have to stick with the next hour, which is the Sorlac Digest podcast, guys. They do the best damn Star Wars show, and they're going to be talking about the Skeleton Crew. Even though it premieres next week, they're going to be talking a little early about it. And the one aspect we can also let you know is that next week, we know that it's Thanksgiving and we were thinking about a bunch of things. What should we do? Chances are we're not going to do a live stream, but we're not going to leave you hanging. We're actually going to have a recorded episode drop the same time that it always does, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Times. It's going to be recorded, Toy Box Chronicles. We're going to have some videos cut in. It's going to be Chet and myself, and it's going to be one of our what are we thankful for this year in toys? So we got some that popping up. And as usual, if you're not watching on Fridays, the whole crew is here, just not just myself and Mr. Maddox. You've got Dr. Brentley, you've got Rad and Pixel Plastic Inc. This week is a good one. We are ranking the best vampire movies ever. And that does not mean that it just has to have Dracula in it. Because if you've seen the thumbnail, well, to me, the best vampire is on the thumb. So I'm looking forward to that episode. What about you, Chet?
Yeah, we'll see who wins, but I feel like it's a spoiler on the thumb. But yeah, I mean, look, we got a lot of great stuff, being edited and being ready to publish as well. A lot of great things happening that are being worked on with Joystick Junkies. So stay tuned. There's a lot. We just released the Dragonfly pilot, Wild Bill short. That's on the channel. We got a lot happening. There's going to be news segments. There's going to be Twilight reviews. We're going to do everything, man. We're just going to review that movie into the trash can. But yeah, man, it's been fun. It's been great. But like you said, we got to head over to the Sarlacc Digest and check out some Star Wars news. I'm excited about this one because I don't really know anything about Skeleton Crew. To be completely honest, I was kind of waiting for this episode, so I'm excited to get over there and watch it. So with that being said, if you guys click on the link that is right below. In the next 2 minutes, you'll get